views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Well, since the year 2011, this agency began developing relationships with community partners and providing direct services to the homeless population. Now, 6 years later, they're rooted in the Queens community and provide a unique approach to the homelessness issue. Coming up on today's show, we'll learn more about this organization and the services they provide, how they too may be in the need of a little help to continue the wonderful work that they're doing. That's coming up on this edition of Perspectives with yours truly, Darren Hyman.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Let 'em know. Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference.
What's your perspective?
Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Darren Hyman. Of course, we thank you for watching, and for all of you here on the show, we want to tell you that you can stay connected to us. Of course, you can watch us every week on television. If not, you can watch us on social media and find out. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. And there you'll be able to share your comments and share your perspective, and then also get some feedback from you as to possibly some things that you want to see. And if you share it with us, of course, we'll be looking, and possibly you'll see your episode or what you're looking for right here on Perspectives. Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, we are talking about homelessness. To date, they've served over 6,000 people. They're called the New Face to Homeless Shelters, catering to families and individuals living with special needs. And joining me now to tell us all about this wonderful organization and what actually makes them so unique is Monique Thompson, the CEO and founder of Restful Nights organization. And Monique, good to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good. And when we talk about homelessness, obviously in New York City, it is a growing epidemic. And every time you turn around, it seems as though the numbers are continuing to rise. Tell us, what are you finding as far as the homelessness population and the issues that we're having here in New York?
I find that the numbers continue to rise because the individuals that end up in and out of the shelter system are repeated people that's in and out of the shelter systems. For one is because the reasons that they became homeless in the first place was never addressed. So in the system that they have, that New York City has, they go into the shelter system, they in turn put them into an apartment. They're not even ready to go in an apartment, or else they wouldn't end up there in the first place. So what makes us different is as we take them in, as we get our intakes in, we have individualized care plan. Everybody is not set to the same standard. You come in the shelter, you go into a tier 1 or tier 2, and then you get an apartment as you go out on interviews. First and foremost, we deal with people with special needs. So first we attend to the physical needs, and then the mental health needs, and then if it's drug addiction needs, it depends on the person. Everybody's not in the shelter system because they're on drugs or messed up. Some of them need help finding jobs. So we attend to those needs. Afterwards, after everything is set, then we give them about a 3-month period doing positive things first before we even address the housing issue. The housing issue is the last thing, because if I put you in a house and you can't maintain it, then you'll be back in the shelter system again. So
Are we seeing any particular types, when we talk about homeless population and the numbers continue to rise, are we seeing, is it more men, is it more women, more families? What are we seeing?
There's more men, believe it or not. There's more men. Now, and families, unfortunately, because of the men, the families is falling right behind. For us, we deal with special needs people. So we deal with adults with special needs. So ours is families and mostly men. Our population is probably 80% men, 20% women. We house both.
And when you say they come in with particular needs, there's a lot of stereotypes that get associated with homelessness. And people who just come in, feel like, they're at the worst of life. But no, you have regular people who just have just struggled and had some problems.
Exactly. Well, again, with the rising rents in New York City, some jobs just can't afford. You can't
Right.
afford to pay the rent, and that's some of that's some of our residents' issues. They won't go into the shelter system, but they come into our community intake system, and those we help with, maintaining the houses that they have, helping them find better jobs, so maybe they don't end up losing their apartment and in turn becoming homeless.
So when you talk about getting them to an apartment, you said that sometimes that's the worst thing that you could possibly do. Why?
Because, okay, so you figure you have a homeless person in the shelter, they get a voucher and they move into an apartment, right? Now, from what I've seen, the people that's in my shelter, a lot of them have vouchers already and still got kicked out. You know why? They terrorized the apartment. Okay, one of my clients, I remember saying, she was saying that if you walked into her apartment, you couldn't tell the difference between her and the floor. The trash was piled up so high, the landlord just was like, I don't want this voucher, you just gotta go. Again, so she went in the shelter system, and then she ended up in another apartment to trash somebody else's apartment. She was never taught the basics of how to maintain her apartment with the voucher that she had.
Now somebody would say that's pretty just normal. You should know how to maintain an apartment.
For us, not for us, because our population is mentally unstable people. So no, she don't know how to maintain the apartment properly. So that's something that we needed to work on. We got to give her classes on how to be a responsible adult in the apartment, that she has to clean every day. Little things like she has to clean every day. She has to make sure her trash is out every day. She can't have company inside the apartment 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, partying and doing all type of stuff every day. No, they have to be taught.
So education
is the key.
Key component.
Yes.
And sometimes we take that for granted.
And we take that for granted.
So
A lot of things our parents taught us as an adult, as children, and we grow up and we know these things, but what about the ones that was never taught?
Never, and sometimes we never think about that. So give us a little bit about your organization and what got you started.
Let's see, in 2004, I came to New York from Virginia, and I went to the shelter system. I lasted about 3 days before my oldest son told me, Ma, you got 2 options. You can get us out of here before we end up hurting somebody, or somebody end up hurting us. I picked up them that night and I left. It was so disgusting and degrading. And I was a nurse at the time, so it wasn't, I never had a drug addiction problem or anything. So it's just that, never mind the way that it's ran inside. Everybody is like animals thrown inside of a cage while you wait in the intake center. But then the attitude of the workers inside the facility is like, yeah, whatever, okay. Well, you shouldn't have ended up here anyway, so this is how I felt. You already down, and so now they kick you down some more. And to me, like I said, everybody is not there for the same situation. So I'm somebody that when I see an injustice, then I have to do something about it. I just can't sit still. And so I kept saying since 2004, I want to open a shelter. And I want to show New York City how they're supposed to run a shelter. Everybody in my shelter has to be treated with respect. I don't care if they are the dirtiest and smelliest person you ever. No, if I see any of my staff covering nose or anything, I need to talk to you in the back. Immediately. Everybody gets treated with respect because everybody's a person, and guess what? You don't know their story, so you don't know what happened. There's a lot of things. Some people, yes, they just screw up, but some people didn't have a chance from 5 years old. So what do? Right. Because you didn't do anything to assist them. You just talked about them, kicked them down, and kept them down. So.
And talk about that system, because obviously New York City does have a system, but you're also competing against the system and with the system at the same time.
I'm not competing against the system. I just want to make sure that the people that come through my door is treated with respect and treated as people, so their confidence can can get built back up, so they can want better. They gotta want better from themselves. I never, ever, ever tell anybody when they come into my facility that you have to get clean. I don't tell them that, because me telling them that, what do that mean? They have to want to get clean. So I show them what it can be for them to be clean, what they can have if they clean themselves up, if they pick themselves up and start all over. As long as you live in, you got a chance to start all over.
We're going to come back and talk more with Monique Thompson, and she's talking about homelessness. Her organization is actually doing a great work in terms of helping people. We're going to talk about some upcoming activities she has of putting her organization out there to let people know help is available.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
And we're back here on Perspectives. Darren Hyman here with you, and our guest in studio, Monique Thompson, and she is the CEO and the president of Restful Nights organization. Organization is designed to help those, particularly with mental challenges in homelessness, and it's very rough these days in New York City. The homeless population continues to rise, but particularly you focus a little bit with those. With 85% about you say are dealing with mental issues.
No, for us, our population is 100% mental illness.
Okay.
So everybody in our shelter is either a resident with mental health illness or a family member who takes care of them, that takes care of the person with mental health illness. But to qualify, they have to have a mental health illness.
Mm-hmm. So walk us through the steps of when somebody walks through your door and they say, listen, I just need a place. What do you do?
First, when somebody walks through the door, they probably were referred there. Once they come in an intake, we have a partnership with an organization around the corner. If they have not been referred to us through one of the many organizations that refer our residents to us, we send them there to first get a physical, PPD, mental health evaluation and everything to make sure that we can service them, because for us, we apply for the 2010 e-vouchers too. So eventually, even though it's the last thing, eventually we do the placing ourselves to place them in apartments. And for New York City, they have to have a serious and persistent mental health illness in order to qualify for a 2010 e-voucher. So we have to make sure they fit the guidelines, or again, they'll be just sitting in the system. They have people 2 years in the shelter system that does not have an apartment yet, that has a voucher already, and that's not our goal either. You know, so after they get their paperwork in, they send the referral, the agency around the corner or the agencies that sent them in the first place. They send us a referral. The social worker go over them and make sure they fit the qualifications, because another problem that they have in the city shelter is you don't want to put what you would call an average individual in a facility that's full of people with mental health illnesses. It'll be constant chaos.
Right.
You understand that the person with mental health illness is not operating on the same level as you would expect the average person to operate on, and the average person won't understand that. So the little things that they do that we know, they have mental health illnesses, so you can expect little things from them. They won't, and then, of course, it's chaos. It's chaos. So, they have to have a mental health illness to qualify.
So with your organization, talk about what are some of the greatest assets that you feel that you're able to provide.
The services. Okay, so We provide mental health counseling. We provide substance abuse counseling. We provide the 2010 e-vouchers. We apply for the vouchers for the apartments. We provide financial assistance. We provide resume building, interview preparations. We also have a memorandum of understanding with an employment agency. So after all the documents is brought in and they've been through resume building and interview preparation classes, we send them to the agency and he send them out on jobs for those that just need help getting jobs. We have, what else do we provide? We provide so many services. We do HIV testing every other Wednesday, worry-free Wednesdays, because in our we are in the South Jamaica area of Queens, so it is rough there, okay? I can tell you about 80% of the homeless population, they are HIV positive too.
Wow.
So yes, there's something we battle with too. So we provide
80%, you said.
80% of the population. I can tell you in any number of day, one of the women of the night on the street walks up and says, well, can you help me? I'm HIV positive. And some people will get taken aback, but this is what's going on in the community. So we provide condom services, counseling, the HIV counseling. Yeah, just a lot of services.
A lot of stuff. So you got some events coming up too, because as you're getting ready to
back to school.
Right.
So we like I said, we are a homeless shelter and a community intake center. So we also cater to the underserved community in that area. And this is our 4th annual back to school drive, community barbecue. So every year, Labor Day weekend, we throw a barbecue and we feed the whole community. And we give away book bags. So this year, my goal was 200 kids for book bags, and we're at like 185.
All right, almost there.
Almost there, 185. Yeah, we're excited this year.
So 200 book bags you'll be handing out.
We give out 200 book bags, and we try to fill the book bags with the supplies. You know, the supply list that the schools send out. We try to cover the supply list for all the schools in that area, because it's a neighborhood that's struggling. It's really struggling, and the school list will make you go broke.
Right. Well, how do you go about getting these 200?
It started with the neighborhood just coming in, and we're standing outside, and we have a back to school. We giving out school supplies, and it started like that. We also have a good relationship with the church up the block, and he has a huge food pantry. And the first year he started sending people down, so now they come in asking, when is the school supply? When can we add a kid's name on the list?
Right.
Yeah, so it works like that. Last year we got sponsorship where we didn't even have to buy anything. And we got everything was sponsored.
How's it feel being that organization that's like right there in the community, and then you also have the community that's also just rallying around what you do?
It feels good. It feels good. When I first moved there, when I first opened up the organization, everybody was like, we used to stay open till 10 o'clock at night. And everybody was like, no, you can't stay here till 10 o'clock. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. But I was talking to my site manager yesterday, and I said, you know what? I feel so protected in this neighborhood. The neighborhood people that don't want to come in, because we have a few that been on the streets for probably 40 years. And they come in for services and they come in for counseling, but they don't want to come in off the street. They have family members that they can go home to, but they are the ones that look out for you at nighttime.
Right.
When you late at night on the street leaving the office, it's those same people that I told you treat with respect, because you never know who you're dealing with.
Right.
And they'll be like, leave her alone. Make sure she gets to her car safe. Y'all better not. I better not hear nothing happen to her. Those very same people that everybody is like, yeah, don't stay away from them. Stay away from them. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Monique Thompson, our guest, talking about Restful Nights organization, a Queens-based homeless shelter that deals with a lot with the mentally challenged population. We'll continue our conversation with her and more in just a few moments.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket. and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Back here on Perspectives, continue our conversation with Monique Thompson, sharing a little bit about her Restful Nights organization and the work that's going on. And with all the work that's going on, how do you get restful nights?
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. The name Restful Nights, before I get to the events, it's because I know when I was in the shelter for those 3 days, I couldn't sleep at night. The whole night I was up watching every corner in the room and everything. So my shelter, when I started it, I wanted them to be able to sleep well at night, because if you sleep good at night, then you always have a better future in the morning. You always see things more clear in the morning. I couldn't see my way out of my situation because I could never get to sleep at night. I watch my kids sleep. I walk back and forth all night, but I could not sleep.
So to go from actually being homeless to now having a homeless shelter, what does it mean for you?
More so what it means for my kids. I want them to know that nothing can stop you if you don't want it to, okay? You just gotta, any obstacle that comes my way, I just keep on going. I just knock it on down, don't worry about it.
Just keep on doing it.
Just keep on going until I can't go no more. So I want them to know that no matter what the situation is, there's always a way out of it, if they just keep going.
And you got some stuff that you're still doing, because you have a couple more events that are coming up in September, October,
Yeah, this is our busy season. The office called me the Christmas Nazi, so this is the best time of the year for me. Starting September starts our event, so in September kicks off our community barbecue. October, we do our coats and candy, and we give away winter coats. Last year, we gave away over 500 coats. So yeah, we're aiming for more. We're aiming to double this year, and we give away bags of candy to the kids while the parents are waiting to pick up coats. And then we have a costume party on the 28th of October, and that's to raise funds for our Thanksgiving and Christmas Toys for Tots. So Thanksgiving, we give a full course meal: turkey, ham, ribs, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, rice and peas, everything. Cake, banana pudding, everything on Thanksgiving. No store-bought turkey. We cook. We actually stay over in the facility and we cook all night. All the staff has to be on deck. That's a requirement.
Really?
Yes. Everybody cooks all night long. And then, we give it out to the community on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving you give it out.
And Thanksgiving we give it out. Yes. And then for Christmas we do toys for the community. Again, we give out toys for the kids.
So if you had a wish list of things that you want to do or things that you're looking to do, what's that?
If I had a wish list, I would love to have another facility so when my residents leave the shelter, I can put them in my facility. That way I can watch them and make sure that they don't derail again.
Yeah. And making sure that they don't derail. Obviously, that's major for you.
That's major for me.
Yeah. So how do you monitor that?
We have a 6-month program, aftercare. So we have caseworkers that go out to their house once a month. Although there's really no need because they always back at the facility. I have so many people that graduated and got moving to their own place. They always am. I said, "Are you still here? Like, why do I have to see your face every day?" They're back. They're always there, and then they go home. But yeah, we have a 6-month program where we monitor them. We also always keep it open to them if they have if they feel like they're gonna relapse or anything. We have residents that's gone on to be caseworkers themselves.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And what about the support of family? How do you work that with family, with those who are?
Well, we try to keep the family involved because the family is one of the main reasons why they end up relapsing.
Oh, right.
The relationships with the family, they feel like they're not getting enough support. Again, remember, we're dealing with mental health people, so their emotions is really unstable. And when they feel like they're not getting the support of their family, then it can take everything that we work for right down the drain. So our caseworkers and social workers try to keep an open line with the family, try to stay involved in the recovery process, the whole process from intake to permanent housing.
And so for people who want to find out more information, how do they get connected to you if they want to do that?
Well, restfulnightscorporation.com. We're online and we're on Facebook. Restful Nights Facebook.
And then you can tap in there.
You can tap in there, and all our events is posted. You always have access to somebody. Somebody always answer the phone.
When is the busiest time of year for you?
This time.
Really?
This time is the busiest time for me. In the summertime, for some reason, that's when we have to hold on to our people the tightest because, again, they have mental health issues. So they feel like it's summertime, it's hot. I don't need to be in a place. I can go outside in the street and sleep.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is what I mean about they're not ready for apartments. In those times, if they was in a regular shelter where they're put with general population, this stuff is not monitored. Yeah, they're just pushed out. You wonder why in the summertime you see them back in the wintertime. It's because they done gave up the apartment in the summertime because they felt like, I don't need to be in an apartment. I can be on the street, sleep in the park. It's no problem.
What's the greatest lesson that you feel that people learn from being at your organization, living, residents?
The greatest lesson that I think they learn is that their life matters. They're important. So they're important to somebody. If they're not important to their family, they're important to me.
That's it. Well, Monique Thompson has been our guest here on Perspectives, and we want to thank her for coming and sharing with us a little bit about her organization, Restful Nights, and want you to get connected, and maybe you can help out with backpack or taking part in that community giveaway or donating for that community giveaway. You can do that by getting in touch with Monique and Restful Nights, and certainly I know that they'll be glad to receive that. But thanks again for coming by.
Thank you.
All righty, look, Monique Thompson, our guest here on Perspectives. That about wraps it up for us here on this edition of Perspectives. I'm Darren Jaime. Say till next time we meet, take care, God bless. Share your perspective with somebody else. You never know, it just might make a difference in somebody else's life. Talk to you soon.
Perspective.
What's your perspective? Let 'em know.
I can't change, even if I try.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.